Hey, it's Donna here from Pastries for Pets. In this video, I will explain how to use any of our dog icings to write on dog treats with. All right, now I'm going to show you, even though all of the icing directions give you amounts in half cups and full cups of icing mix, you can make icing out of a quarter cup. So if you only need a little bit of icing, you could do an eighth of a cup, you could do a quarter of a cup. Like I said before, nothing's set in stone. So if you do a quarter cup, you're going to add less water, of course, but now that you know that you can add water a teaspoon at a time, this is going to help you a lot. So I added a quarter cup to my bowl, and I'm going to use some of our food coloring, and it's all natural, and I chose yellow. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow food coloring into the dry mix, and a little bit more. The more you add, the brighter the yellow it will be. So I love bright colors. And I'll put this aside, and we're going to do, I'm gonna write on it and maybe put a paw print on it. So that's what I mean by details. Details are either you write on the dog treat or you do a design on a dog treat. So now I've mixed the yellow in really quickly with a spoon because I wanted to make sure there were no little lumps in my dried powdered food coloring, because sometimes you get little lumps and you can just crush it with the back of your spoon. You don't have to use our food coloring. You don't have to use all natural food coloring. You can use any artificial food coloring. I wouldn't put a lot of artificial food coloring in it, but you can definitely use, gel food colors, any types of food colors. But if you're using a powdered-based food color, always add it into your mix before the water. And if you want to make it a little bit brighter, you can add more in after you mix the water in as well. It works better if you add it when it's a dry mix, because you can get the bumps out a lot easier if there's any little clumps. If you're using a gel food color, you can mix your icing with water and then add your gel food coloring. If you're using a liquid food color, you want to make sure you don't add a lot of water up front, because the liquid food coloring is liquid. So it's going to act just like the water acts when you add it to the mix. So you want to keep that in mind when you add it. So if it's more, if you can get the consistency of your icing more like this, then this is a good time to add liquid food coloring so that you can see if you need to even add any more water, which comes into play when I say it's nothing set in stone, okay? So if you add liquid food coloring and it's too liquidy, too thinned out, then you're gonna wanna add a little bit more of the dry mix, and you can do that too. So this is actually a nice detailed consistency for detailed, because see how it's not falling off the spoon as easy? That's gonna work out very nice. Now, I'm going to put this in an icing bag as well, and I want to let you know that if you were to do the icing and you made it really, really, really thick and it curves out of the bag like this, when you're piping it onto your dog treat and you have to press it down with your finger just to get the icing out of the bag, it will fall off when it dries. So if it starts to curl up out of the bag, you need to add a little bit more water so it doesn't curl. And this is a nice consistency too. Now, if that happens to you, you can easily take the icing out of the bag, squeeze it back in a bowl, add a touch bit more water, mix it up again, and then decorate. You don't have to throw away your icing. You just add a little bit more water to it and you'll be writing and decorating very quickly. Okay, so this bag is a little bit different. It's actually, it has little guidelines on it for me. And it tells me on the bottom, you can see that? It has, I'm trying to get it on the camera for you. There's little lines, I don't think you can see them, but it shows me where I can actually cut. Let's see if that helps. If it gives me little lines, so I know where I can cut to write letters, or if I want it to be a little bit bigger. But for now, I'm just gonna squeeze this down. I'm gonna knot it because there's so little in here. You can also cut the end of the bag off and make it a little bit smaller. So this way you don't have a lot of plastic hanging out. All these great tips. You guys are gonna be decorating like professionals before you know it. Okay, so now I'm gonna cut a little bit off. Seemed like a little bit more than I normally would cut off, but let's see if I can write wolf on this for you. Let's see. So basically, this means details. And I want to let you know to let your background, the white, the flooding, you really should let it dry maybe 15 minutes, a half hour, and then type out your letters. Because if you do it too soon, the icing itself will go right back into the white and your letters will become like blurred. So this, as you can see here, let me move my icing bag, but I wrote wolf on this, and you can see the letters are pretty much sitting right on top of the white. So if I did it when the white was really, really wet, the wolf would kind of blend right into the white. So that's why we always tell people to let the flooding dry a little bit before you add your details. Now, there is another technique called the wet on wet technique, where you want to apply the next color on top of your flooded color because you want it to blend in. Like maybe you're doing polka dots or tie-dyed. That's the wet on wet technique, and that's when you have both icings wet and they go together, they blend together. But on this particular one, I wanted the wolf words to stand right on top of the actual white background. And that's why I let the white background set up a little bit, a couple of minutes. You can use a little table fan or a big table fan to let your dog treats dry quicker. You can also do all your flooding at once. Say I had 12 of these little bones. I could put them all on a tray or all on my table and do all the white first, the background like I did here. And then by the time I was done with number 12 or even 24, I can go back and probably use the detailed consistency already because they had time to set. So I hope this helps you. I have a lot more videos available on this website. They're all labeled for you to give you more pointers and tips so that you can be decorating and spoiling dogs just like I am.